This is a T422 production.
If you want to talk some Simpsons, we do it with distinction. Insert brain here. With Springfield in our vision, our spirit is embiggened. Insert brain here. Flanders, Quimby, Auto, Man, the Hasapima, pedal on. Insert brain here. We've got Simpsons to ponder. Here comes David and Connor. Insert brain here.
There's a chill in the air.
There is indeed.
There's autumn leaves on the ground. For real this time.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's actually the autumn. It's September.
Yeah.
Two men are sitting in a small closet. They'll discuss three terrifying tales of titillation. And also a wraparound.
Yeah.
They are Insert Brain Here, a Simpsons podcast. I'm your host, Connor, and with me on this spooky little night is my co-host, David.
That's me.
Wow, what a special episode. I love the Treehouse of Horror.
Oh, I know you do.
I'm bouncing off the walls with excitement. I cannot contain myself. The original air date for Treehouse of Horror 2, which we're covering today, was October 17th, 1991.
Very good. Nice.
Oh, David, take us away with a recap. Tell me what you thought this episode was about. David, if you could...
I was about to fucking do it as well. So let's start.
David, if you could tell me what you thought this episode was about, if you're brave enough. It was quite frightening.
It was an experience.
It was an experience. Viewer discretion, listener discretion is advised.
Yes, it is. So the episode opens with Halloween night in the Simpsons household.
Yes,
and the general setup for the stories to come, which is that the kids and Marge have been out trick-or-treating.
Yes. If
They come home. Homer's
been in the house, answering the door to trick-or-treaters himself.
Yeah. And so they come back, bringing back a good haul and all that. And Marge is like, "Oh, you can have one sweet tonight." And then that's it. And that's when the camera sort of zooms out and everyone's stuffing their face. So obviously Maggie's not included in that. It's Homer.
I think
it's
she
Bart.
is stuffing her face though.
Is she?
Maybe that's just my memory being frighteningly bad.
Probably is.
But in my memory, it's Bart, Lisa, Homer, and Maggie are all
stuffing.
Face.
Right. Okay. Well, it centers the story purposes center on the fact that it's Homer, it's Bart, and Lisa that are stuffing their face.
Yeah.
And so they get told.
Marge says.
Yeah, that they're going to have nightmares tonight after all that sugar.
Eat too much candy gives you nightmares. I've always heard that was cheese.
I've never really heard anything specific about that.
I'd always heard if you eat cheese before bed, you get nightmares.
Really? I had not heard that about cheese. Okay.
Maybe that's a story from France to stop French boys gobbling up all the brie.
Maybe.
Chomping on a bit of
soft
gorgonzola.
Cheese. Aye, that was a good one. That was I haven't heard gorgonzola for a long time.
I think gorgonzola is one of those cheeses that is lodged in my brain because of Wallace and Gromit. I'm sure Wallace mentions it at some point. You can find out more about that if you listen to our Wallace and Gromit podcast. Not even Wensleydale.
Nice.
God,
Nice one.
Because we're in hell.
Yeah, it's warm in here.
Oh, spooky hell.
Yeah. So the Simpsons, they go to bed, obviously, because it gets late into the evening. And the first story begins yes. because that is Lisa's
nightmare.
Which
is called The Monkey's Paw. The Monkey's Paw begins with the Simpsons family in Marrakesh. They're at a market. Homer happens across a merchant who is selling a monkey's severed hand.
Mm-hmm.
or paw, if you will.
Yeah.
And he's told that the paw grants wishes, but with disastrous consequences. Buys it anyway.
Yeah.
Sneaks it home to America. Begins wishing. The Simpsons family begin wishing. First up is Maggie.
Yes.
Who wishes for a new pacifier that everyone thinks it's a fancy car because that's what it gets dropped off in.
Yeah.
Then Bart snatches it and he wishes for the Simpson family to be rich and famous.
Yes.
Which backfires to a degree, I guess, because people are beginning to get a bit sick of them. Then Lisa snatches it and secretly wishes for world peace, which brings the attention of famous Simpsons aliens Kang and Kodos.
Yes.
Who are able to enslave Earth with a slingshot.
And a club.
Yeah. Because everyone's got rid of their guns and their knives and their rockets and such.
Yeah.
And then Homer wishes for a turkey sandwich. The turkey's a little dry and he goes nuts and he throws the monkey's paw in the bin. But Ned Flanders happens across it and Homer's like, well, here, have the monkey's paw because it has disastrous consequences, but I wouldn't tell you that. And Ned Flanders makes two wishes. One is to get rid of the aliens and everyone loves him for it. And the other wish is to have a castle instead of a house.
Yeah.
Seemingly with no disastrous consequences. And that's the end of the segment.
Yes.
Lisa wakes up from her nightmare and goes through into Bart's room, where she bribes him with a candy necklace that he immediately sucks dry. Returning only the string.
Yeah.
As Bart has a nightmare, David, about?
And Bart's segment, which is titled The Bart Zone. Bart's nightmare.
Yes.
I guess it doesn't really even start out as a nightmare for Bart.
Well, that's kind of the gag.
Yeah. It starts out with a sort of narrator sort of laying the scene, which
very
is
Twilight Zone, very Rod Sterling.
Yes, yeah. So it sets out the scene that there's an entity that you need to stay happy, or bad things will happen.
Yeah.
You'll get changed into something weird or just disappear flat out.
Can read minds, can change things at will, etc.
Yeah, and from clearly any distance or all that stuff. A nice example is where Jasper, old man Jasper, gets changed into a Jasper-headed dog because he has negative thoughts.
One negative thought.
Aye, one negative thought.
Getting a bit sick of this, and that's him done.
So the gag, I guess, to that serious narration is the fact that it then cuts to the fact that it's Bart.
It's a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, 10-year-old Bart is who is responsible for this happy horror that everyone's living through. The family are all afraid and everything of what Bart might or might not do. And so Homer's sitting watching the football, and Bart comes along and says, change the channel, I want to watch the Krusty Show. And I said, no, I've got money riding on this. So Bart makes him disappear and then sits and watches the football, where the football that's just been kicked towards the goal changes into Homer. And he doesn't make it across the goal, he smacks the post.
So not only was he teleported to the game as the ball mid-flight and hit the post, but he also lost the $50 because of that.
Yeah, lost the game. A ball would have bounced in. He did not.
Yeah.
So yes. And then it changes to Krusty Show. Krusty, who's been running for, is it 246 hours straight?
I think it's maybe 346.
Might be 346.
A long
I think
time
I think it was close to what I thought was a year, because I thought he was about to say he's been running for a full year. So yeah, so it would be somewhere around there. So yeah. Anyway, a lot of hours straight. So he is rough. And Homer sneaks his way back in all bandaged up and everything, just is trying to think happy thoughts whilst also about to smack the hell out of Bart with a chair.
Doesn't do a very job thinking happy thoughts, because he's thinking Don't think anything because Bart can read your mind.
I'm going to nicely smack him on the head with a chair. And it's like, what?
No more monster.
Aye. So Bart just points at him and he turns into a Jack-in-the-Box with a Homer head.
Aye.
Marge comes around, sees that, and is like, right, you two need to get along. We need to go nicely, please, to Bart, over to Dr. Marvin Monroe.
Correct.
At Dr. Marvin Monroe's, they find out that Homer and Bart need to bond.
Yeah.
So they go out, they have some bonding time. They actually legitimately have fun. Baseball game, a roller coaster, some other stuff.
Shooting, skeet shooting.
Yeah. And they have fun.
Aye.
And then Bart's getting tucked into bed by Homer. Well, kind of. As well as he can as a Jack-in-the-Box.
He's doing it with his teeth.
Yeah. Gets transformed back into his proper body and gives Bart a good old hug.
And Homer and Bart say?
And Homer and Bart tell each other they love each other.
Yes.
And obviously that is the nightmarish part for Bart. So he wakes up screaming.
I think Bart actually even calls him Dad. He doesn't call him Homer.
Yeah, he does. I think he does. You're right. Nice.
Oh, horrible.
Fucking hell. But yeah, so he wakes up screaming, and Bart and Lisa go running into their parents' bedroom, jump in bed. Ironically, Bart and Homer are the ones next to each other. But whatever. Anyway, so they climb into bed, and then kicks off the third segment. Take it away, Connor.
Well, the third segment begins as Homer's nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Homer's segment, which is titled "If Only I Had a Brain."
Yeah,
we
fair.
Pan into a very familiar shot where Homer's sleeping at work and Mr. Burns is talking to Smithers, chatting away about how he hates his workers because they're all lazy, they're layabouts, don't do anything. And he's got a plan to replace them all. Smithers is like, well, that's good, but for now, let's keep morale up with a random firing. Mr. Burns fires Homer.
Yes, he does.
So Homer goes off and gets a job digging graves because he's not qualified for much. Not that there's anything wrong with digging graves, of course.
No, but it doesn't require university.
No. It does not, I suppose. Not right now. I'm sure it will eventually.
Oh, at some point.
I'm sure you'll need a 6-year degree course to dig fucking graves soon.
Yeah.
But if, as lazy as he is, he falls asleep in the first grave that he's digging. And as a result, when Mr. Burns and Smithers go looking for brains in the graveyard, looking to find a cadaver that's fresh that they can get a brain out of, they find Homer.
Yep.
They take him back to their strange lab.
Yeah.
And Mr. Burns cuts Homer's head open, takes his brain out, and shoves it in a giant robot that he designed as the perfect worker. Perfect. The second it gets Homer's brain in it, it locks in on some donuts, bashes through about 5 balls, throws them down its throat, and then goes to sleep again.
Yeah.
Which leads to Mr. Burns being like, well, this has been a massive failure. Let's move on. And Smithers is like, well, Homer Simpson has a family. Why don't you put his brain back in his body and send him on home? Mr. Burns is like, oh, fine, I guess, if I must. So as he's returning Homer's brain to his body and Homer seems to be alive again, Mr. Burns gives the robot a little kick and it tumbles over and crushes his body from the neck down. Leads to Homer waking up, screaming, to the realization that Mr. Burns' head is grafted onto his neck.
Yeah.
And that's how the episode comes to a close. And that's the end of the episode, David. That's the whole shebang.
It is. It was a good episode.
Yes, it was. I love a good Treehouse of Horror, as I've mentioned, and this was an especially good one.
Yes.
Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into our new segment, Scary Eye on Springfield.
Oh.
Da, 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 da. Ooh, Dracula, Frankenstein. It's me, the Invisible Man. I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
So you can't tell if I'm visible or not. That's the joke.
Aye.
You can't see me or not see me. For I am on a podcast. It's me, the Invisible Man.
Correct.
This is Iron Springfield, the segment of this show where I go through characters who made their first appearance in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I say them and you give a brief guess as to who they are.
Yes.
David, who is Colonel?
Colonel. What are we looking at? Is Colonel the person selling at the market in
David,
Marrakesh?
Colonel is the guy that Lenny speaks to with the pink apron on.
All right, okay.
You know when they've gotten rid of all their weapons?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Colonel, if only. And he was like, but I'm a baker now.
Oh, yes.
A weird way to introduce that character.
Very
his
strange.
entire thing is meant to be that he's a colonel, and you introduce him in the episode where he's no longer a colonel. And then I think he never shows up again.
Yeah.
First appearance, David, of Monkey Paw Seller.
That'll be the Monkey Paw Seller.
That's correct. That's the man who sells the monkey's paw to Homer.
Very good.
First appearance, David, of Robot.
Is that the robot that Homer's brain gets transplanted into?
It is indeed, yes.
Good.
First appearance of Karnak the Magnificent.
Karnak the Magnificent. Karnak the Magnificent.
It's a brief appearance, but it is a speaking role.
Okay. I'm going to have to pass this because no one's coming to mind at all.
So Karnak the Magnificent is the guy on TV with the tarot cards or something who's talking about Madonna. It's in the third segment when Marge is looking out the window for Homer and she tells Bart that he's been missing for 2 days. And he didn't realize.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Nice.
the end of Iron Springfield.
Oh, wow. Not too many new characters then.
It really focuses on characters who've already been established.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Spooky. Blah, blah, blah.
That was a good outro. I like that.
Glad to hear it. Okay, David, let's fire on into some trivia.
Okay, yes.
Terrifying 3 blind mice trivia. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice with vampire fangs and bolts in their neck. Spooky trivia. Terrifying trivia.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. It's terrifying.
Yes. Okay, I'll do it. This is wraparound trivia.
Yeah.
I'll go segment by segment because I think it's easier to follow that way.
Yeah, it is. Instead of jumping about.
Yes. This was the first by wraparound.
We're talking about the setting the scene for those stories.
And also the general episode.
Yeah. Okay.
This was the first Treehouse of Horror episode to actually air on Halloween.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
I was waiting for, interesting. This wouldn't happen again until Treehouse of Horror X in season 11, 1999.
Wow. Like 8 years later.
8 years later, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Can't happen that often. I wonder if we'll ever have a Treehouse of Horror episode of Insert Brain here go out.
Only if we miss a few episodes.
Because the last one was January, this one's September. So the next one will be even further away.
Yes. We'll be releasing it at Christmas or something.
Let's not get too... I think it'll probably be spring.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
pitched the idea of scary names appearing in the credits as an homage to EC Comics.
Mm-hmm. I clocked those. I didn't know it was an homage to EC Comics. I didn't know what it was a homage to, but I clocked those. I was reading some of those. They were some of them were really interesting.
I think they do
funny.
that every year from now on. I had no idea it was a homage to EC Comics, though.
Thought about that.
There was some debate amongst the writers about whether to include Kang and Kodos in all Halloween specials after their first appearance last year. Eventually, they decided to make a tradition out of it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
That's good.
glad because I love Kang and Kodos.
Yeah.
And I think if you can, they eventually do creep over into the mainline series of episodes.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what that was.
I'm gone. But I think by making them a tradition, you secure them as having at least one appearance every season.
Yeah.
For characters who would otherwise be a little bit specific.
Yeah, situational, aren't they?
Situational,
otherwise,
that's the phrase, yeah. In the opening, a group of trick-or-treaters walk by wearing sheets.
Mm-hmm.
They are all dressed, you can kind of see underneath their sheets by their legs, in the same costumes the Peanuts characters wear in It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
All right.
It's a nice
cool.
little homage to
Yeah.
that. As a result of switching to a new animation studio, Animavision, and leaving behind Class B Cusco, however you pronounce that, I never found out. And now they're gone, so fuck them. They're the Rugrats team.
Yeah.
Rugrats.
Yeah.
This episode marks the debut of a new animation style.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most noticeable changes is that the characters' pupils are now bigger. I really noticed that in a few shots. There's one specifically of Marge where her pupils are giant. She looks like she's taking eckies.
Yeah, I noticed that.
This is the only Treehouse of Horror where the titles don't appear before each segment.
Yeah.
I guess caused by the framing device of the dreams.
Yeah.
Which is also why I guess we struggle to remember. I knew Monkey's Paw was Monkey's Paw, obviously.
Right.
I had to Google.
Oh, wow.
What the name of the other two segments were. It wasn't like I saw them when I Googled it and went, oh yeah, of course. I went,
Is it?
If I had a brain, really?
Yeah, I feel a little bit less bad about not knowing any of the titles now for that one.
Yeah, aside from Monkey's Paw, obviously.
I could have guessed Monkey's Paw based on the fact that the entire thing centered on Monkey's Paw.
Yeah.
But the other two, I'd already forgotten. If I had a brain.
If I had a brain was the third one, and the second one was the Bart Zone.
That was it.
It's like Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
This is the only Treehouse of Horror where nobody dies. And I think that's true even now. There's no deaths in this episode.
I didn't even think about that.
They have a tendency later on to be death-centric to the point where, I think at one point, the opening credits for one of them, every notable Simpsons character getting mauled by like a big machine.
Okay.
It's like pointless.
Nonsense. Yeah.
David, it's trivia time for the Monkey's Paw.
Okay, very good.
3 blind mice have brought me a monkey's paw, and I've wished for trivia.
Oh, of course.
And look at the hand I've been dealt.
Mm-hmm.
The Monkey's Paw is based on a short story by W.W. Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Or like www.jacobs.com. There were originally plans to have the fingers on the monkey's paw go down in such a way that the last finger standing would be the middle finger. Meaning the paw would be giving
the finger. Yeah.
However, it was believed that if this animation was completed, that Fox would refuse to air the episode.
Oh, without a doubt. In 1991.
I could have twisted this into Who Complained and Why, by the way. But
I know. I'm glad.
Kindness.
Thank you.
They also considered censoring the middle finger themselves, but the idea was dropped altogether.
Right. I think that's a good idea.
It's a funny little visual, but I don't like the idea of them censoring it themselves.
No. I think it would be funny if it did so. Maybe even if it was a case of instead of doing it for The Simpsons, doing it for Ned when he does his wishes.
Yeah, that could be funny.
Because it's only 4 fingers total.
4 fingers, including the thumb.
So if it went like that, then it would still be left with a thumb. By that, I mean the ring finger and the index finger.
Thank you for
I'm
clarifying.
glad I just showed Connor here what I was meaning.
You gave me
this.
you gave me the finger and went, it should be this. And I was like, yep, that's good for this audio medium.
Yeah.
When Kang and Kodo's ship lands on the statue of Jebediah Springfield, the head falls off as a reference to the season 1 episode The Telltale Head.
Yes, I spotted that
You
as it
pointed at that
happened.
and bounced up and down a little bit.
I did, yes. I bounced in my chair watching that very excitedly.
Yes.
It was good. I like that little thing. It's a very small thing and it's a very brief bit of animation and everything. But I like the little homage to that. Because obviously the statue, the whole thing gets knocked over and basically vanishes because when they take off, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's just the plinth and some dirt.
Maybe it's stuck to the bottom of their ship or something.
Maybe.
Burned up when they went to space as well, so you don't see it in those scenes.
Yeah, aye. But anyway.
The ending of The Monkey's Paw where Flanders gets a castle was a last-minute addition.
All right, okay.
What was the ending originally?
Yeah, aye.
Homer bins the monkey's paw and
that's
Lisa
it.
wakes up. During the opening of The Monkey's Paw, oh man, Hank Azaria can be heard faking Arabic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's not right.
That's not ideal. I mean, you can quite easily get actual Arabic.
Or
sounds,
even have
like,
the
you know, like
you can get an actor who speaks Arabic or is Arabian, or you can get Hank Azaria to speak real Arabic.
Yeah, you could. And also there's like not even necessarily an actor, but there's like Arabic prayers and things like that. That's what's being usually broadcast out over these cities.
Yeah,
is Arabic
I think it was
prayers
for like people speaking to one another.
All right, okay, that kind of
but
thing.
Even
okay,
then,
but
you can
still
go to a sound library and get background chatter
precisely,
in Arabic.
Precisely. So, that's unnecessary.
In order to make the episode full time, the animators often extended the laughing for Kang and Kodos, which I think is really funny.
Yeah.
You just have them laugh longer and be like, ah.
Yeah. I noticed they laughed for a very long time, especially the first time. But yeah, it was funny.
It's funny as well. I felt like at other points characters were rushing through their lines.
Mm-hmm.
Or rushing reveal, like the reveal of the turkey sandwich floating in air.
Yeah.
It feels like frames have been cut from that to make it faster because obviously you've got to get through 3 segments in a wrap.
Yeah. And then you find out that Kang and Kodos have been extended in their laugh just to fill out the time.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's time for trivia for the Bart Zone.
Okay, good.
The monster version of Snowball 2 was designed by John Rice. And the producers felt it looked just hideous and just right. We were talking about getting a little model version of that for our podcast recording space.
Yeah.
Especially for whenever we have a video element, which we'll add at some point.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great if we could get that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that when he opened his mouth, it's a flamethrower. It's like that really, really definitely made it. That's Bart, all right. It's like, yes.
According to George Meyer, the animation for when Bart sits up screaming was extremely tough to do, especially making the mouth lines feel natural.
Yeah, because it's basically like a sort of a big squiggle all the way around in a big circle.
Yeah.
I can imagine that would have been a lot. Probably extra frames shoved in there as well because it ripples quite a lot as it goes
around. You don't want it to ripple too much to where it's like something from the Looney Tunes or Rocko's Modern Life or something.
I can see why that would be really difficult, but good.
Yeah,
they pulled it off. I didn't. You know what I'm like when it comes to.
I've seen you freak out at previous animation errors. Or bits of animation that don't look good or right for the show.
Yeah, I thought that was just grand.
Glad to hear it. Hank Azaria, who voices Mo, is said to have detested Bart's prank call in this episode. I don't know if it was the prank call itself or having to read that line.
Maybe.
Or
maybe because he just thought it wasn't funny.
Maybe.
Maybe he just didn't think it was funny.
I think what saves it for me is the fact that after Mo says that I'm an ugly moron with a big stinky butt and my butt stinks now to kiss my own butt, he goes, wait a minute. Like he didn't know. He's not saying that because Bart has powers. He just said it.
Yeah.
Because he goes tricked.
Yeah. I like that too.
I used that exact quote in a Letterboxd review.
Oh.
For the movie The Exorcist Believer.
All right.
I put the director's name and attributed that quote to him about having a big stinky butt and liking to kiss his own butt and being a dumb fucking moron. That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. This segment is heavily inspired by the Twilight Zone.
Makes sense why it's called the Bart Zone.
There's a very specific Twilight Zone episode that it's parodying.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew the name of it, I would say it, but I don't.
Me neither.
Nancy Cartwright, who voices Bart, appeared in Twilight Zone, the movie.
All right. Okay.
It's a fun little quinky dink for you.
Yeah.
It's time
for
trivia of If Only I Had a Brain.
Okay.
On to the third and final segment. We're wrapping it up.
Very good.
While removing Homer's brain, Mr. Burns can be heard humming If Only I Had a Brain from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh. All right, that's why I knew what he was humming. I just didn't know where I knew it from.
Yeah. I love The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I think it's cracking.
Only one of the most famous movies ever made.
Probably. Could be.
No, I was saying it's... I go, oh, that's actually a pretty good movie, The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, it's one of the most famous films ever made.
I pretty much everyone knows about it.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone didn't know about it, I'd be questioning them heavily.
Aye.
Under thumbscrews. The writer who came up with the Davy Crockett joke thought it was so funny that they actually mimed the action of Mr. Burns putting on Homer's brain in the writing room. The producers thought this was hilarious and decided to add it to the episode.
I'm glad they did. It was good.
That's very good. We got a little chuckle there.
We did, yeah.
When Mr. Burns and Smithers go to the lab, the animators decided to make the animation a bit more impressive and decided to do the concave and convex illusions caused by the various bottles and other lab equipment. Even though it took more time to complete, the producers felt it was a necessary tour de force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved that. That was cracking. Really good.
That bit of animation.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Burns' tirade at the robot, in which he calls it a clinking, clattering cacophony of colonious cogs and camshafts, was inspired by the line, "You clinking, clanking, clattering collection of colonious junk" from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well done in saying that line.
I think I mispronounced 8 of those words.
Probably.
Cacophony. I know what I said.
Cacophony? Yeah,
I said cacophony.
Cacophony.
I think I said
caffeinated.
That's what I said. I said decaf, please. An ultrasonic lithotripter, which is the machine that Homer would have to know how to use to get that job that Lisa was looking at.
Yeah.
Is used to destroy stones in the human body.
Oh, okay.
For example, kidney stones.
Right. Cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I had absolutely no idea what the hell that was called, and I didn't even know there was a machine specifically for that.
I always assumed you just passed stones.
Same here. I knew you could, like, there's a thing you can take to make them smaller and stuff.
If they're small enough to where you could shrink them to non-existence, but there's...
Yeah, but larger stones, I thought that was like surgical removal.
Or piss them out your cock.
Yeah. Or shred your urethra on the way out. Drink enough water that you've got a fire hose like pressure.
If you drink enough water, then you're not getting kidney stones.
Oh, I mean after you've got the stone.
Okay. I'll never have kidney stones. I'm always drinking water.
Nah, I'm aware.
Because I'm terrified of getting kidney stones and ripping my cock in half. That's the end of 3 Blind Mice terrifying trivia.
Ooh. Good.
Good. 3 blind zombie mice just came into the trivia back.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And one of them was a clown, I guess. One of them was driving the car. Christine from the Stephen King book. Christine.
Yeah.
The other one was just a normal mouse.
Beautiful.
The last thing I said was
murdered by Sam
from Trick or Treat.
Yes.
For not believing in the power of Halloween or for taking your decorations down too early or some such.
Yes.
For not putting a pumpkin out. That's his main thing.
But also not believing in general. I think. Yeah. And speaking of not believing in things, the aliens in this first section.
In aliens?
Yeah, I do, but whatever.
Okay. I was going to say, you're the Scully of this podcast.
I am. You
tell me I'm the Mulder?
I think we're both a little bit Mulder.
Uh-huh. And I am a fiery redhead, though. And that
it's not quite the same. It's not fiery redhead. You like firing into redheads.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's different.
I'm a bit sleep deprived, so I understand how that could become confused.
Yeah.
Confuse those two. No,
So yeah, Kang and Kodos.
I like Kang and Kodos' role in the episode to a degree. I think it's a fun little bit to do that they're using primitive weapons like slingshots and clubs.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really make sense because they've got spaceships, and we saw them in last year's Treehouse of Horror, and they weren't
wielding
slingshots and clubs then.
Yeah.
It reminded me actually of the Predator franchise. The Predators have spaceships and invisibility technology,
but a sword.
Yeah, or like a spear, but they're hunters.
Who
believe in who cares?
But also like an auto-targeting or near auto-targeting gun.
Plasma cannon on their shoulders. Aye.
It's weird.
But I love it.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, and also we only see two of Kang. We only see Kang and Kodos, even though there's other ships that land.
Yeah, I think 3. Is it 3? I think
at least 3. Apparently, it's world domination.
Yes, the entire Earth is enslaved by these aliens.
Aye, they get that. Then Mo gets that board with a big nail in it, and they're gone.
Yeah, I like how Ned gets the credit for that.
Yeah, Mo doesn't get any credit.
He wished for it, and he somehow gets credit despite the fact that Mo chased them off.
Do people know that the monkey paw exists?
They apparently do. But they also are all blaming the Simpsons.
It must have been in the
being everywhere.
It must have been in the article when Lisa brought world peace, because she was interviewed about bringing world peace. People must have found out about it then, but how did they know that Ned had it? I said Millhouse there.
You'd have thought more people would have been pissed off at Lisa. I know it's world peace and everything, but there's a lot of like gun nuts in America.
Yeah, people in America love death and war and bullets and such. How come when Homer's got the monkey paw, the 4-fingered monkey paw, and he makes wishes with it, it has some sort of negative consequence? That's what's sold to him as well. That each of the wishes comes with some sort of backlash.
Yeah.
Like, except Maggie's pacifier doesn't.
No, unless she's slowly getting like lead poisoning or something.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Mate, it's like I reacted to myself there.
Dead kids on the brain, mate.
Oh, brilliant.
It looks like it.
Oh, fucking hell.
The fame and fortune thing that Bart wishes for, right?
Yeah.
That has negative consequences, but it's not specifically because of the monkey's paw. It's not an ironic consequence. It's naturally occurring consequence that would happen from fame and fortune regardless.
Yeah.
And then you have world peace, which is unforeseeable consequence. Well, actually, world peace is technically, I guess that works because you get world peace, but you don't get outer world peace.
Mm.
The aliens don't come to world peace. That's kind of...
Mm-hmm. That's kind of kosher, I suppose. But
then you have Homer's turkey sandwich, aside from it being slightly dry. How can the monkey paw predict people's personal tastes in sandwiches?
True.
It's not like, maybe if it hadn't been dry, maybe if it had been moist.
Like maybe the bread would have been soggy or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So it would still be a bad sandwich.
And then neither of Ned's first wish doesn't have any negative consequences. And his second wish doesn't have any obvious, aside from the fact that him and his wife and their 2 sons would have to clean that castle.
Yeah.
Clean and maintain a castle.
But yeah, the financial responsibility of Ned trying to financially look after a castle.
Yeah.
That's like ridiculous amounts of money. It's huge money.
And did the castle, did it absorb one of his neighbours' houses?
There was a distant shot, but I don't think so. I think it just filled the area that was his garden, which means it's like a really small or really tall castle or something.
It'd be a tall castle, but with a small base.
Yeah.
So is it structurally sound? Is that how they're going to get him? The monkey's paw's going to get him?
The castle collapses on itself while he's in it, killing him.
Oh, you've got a gust of wind and it's gone.
Yeah. Homer farts next door and there's the tower. There's the West Wing gone.
I'm sure taxes and they wouldn't have had the building permits to put a castle there.
Yeah, the city permit fucking people. Planning. Yeah, city planning officers and whatnot. They'll rock up one day and be like, "Hey, where's the house that was here? Where's the house that was here? And where the hell's the planning for this great monstrosity?"
Well, Ned Flanders, he bought a house that was here, and the house is no longer here. He didn't buy a castle, so you're fucking
rip it
homeless.
down.
Yeah,
we are going to rip it down on your behalf and bill you for the cost of doing so.
Aye,
that's usually how they work.
Ooh, that's horrible.
Yeah, so it would actually have some pretty sizable negative connotations to that. The only one that really doesn't is the wishing away the aliens.
The pacifier that Maggie gets.
Maybe the negative consequences with that is the fact that Mo is the one that chases away the aliens, but he doesn't actually get any recognition at all.
That's not a negative consequence on Ned. If it was the other way around, if Mo got the recognition.
But it doesn't necessarily say, I don't think. It necessarily says that it's negative connotations or negative consequences specifically to the wisher.
I don't think it specifically says that, but I think it's heavily implied.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh well. We'll never know.
Wonderful end to a discussion.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Is that everything we need to say about Monkey's Paw? Any final thoughts on Monkey's Paw?
I think overall it was pretty decent little segment. I quite liked it. I didn't think it was much of a Lisa dream, though.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's more of a family dream, and Lisa played a very small part in it. In fact,
arguably, it's more of a Homer dream, really, isn't it?
I think arguably Lisa's part is the only bit that's not a nightmare. That she successfully gets world peace.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why would she wake up scared from a nightmare because Ned Flanders has a pink castle next door?
Why does she wake up from that nightmare? Why is that a nightmare for her?
Boy, I sure someone got fired for that blunder.
Yeah. Some fucking writer needs fired for that one.
Definitely.
How is that a Lisa nightmare?
It's not. It's what they probably did is they wrote a Homer, a Bart, and a Homer, and then went, well, we need something for Lisa to do.
Aye.
So let's give her the
one that's more family orientated, I guess, and just make it hers.
Yep.
That's weird. Maybe her nightmare is the fact that her dream wasn't even about herself.
Oh, that's existential. The one last bit of something that I want to say about this, my final thought is, as much as I like the gag at the beginning with the guy in Marrakesh who sells Homer the monkey's paw, I know every time I bring this concept up, we say that we really shouldn't judge past episodes based on what comes after them. But the guy who sells Homer the Krusty doll in a future Treehouse of Horror and does the bit with this Krusty doll is cursed. That's bad.
Yeah.
But it comes with a free Frogurt. That's good. The Frogurt is also cursed. Is essentially the same character fulfilling the same role, but in a much funnier way.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Good.
So David, the Bart Zone.
Yes. I like how you went. You intended maybe to say what about it, but instead went at me.
It was because I went to say, what did you think about that? And I thought, well, that's the bad phrase that I can't say.
Yeah.
Because I know you'll go, that was quite good.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was all right.
It's decent.
Couple of good
jokes.
points,
bad points, stuff. No. The Bart Zone.
What did you think about the Bart Zone?
Yes, I thought that the overall the Bart Zone was quite a good segment or a good short. I really particularly liked the narration intro.
Right, yeah, which was inspired obviously by Rod Serling, who was the host and creator of the Twilight Zone.
Right. Yeah.
And he would begin every episode with a kind of narration
on setting the scene.
Yeah, setting the scene.
Nice.
And that's what this was inspired by, obviously.
Mm-hmm. One of the jokes that I really liked that was set up during the narration was Jasper, old man Jasper, having the sort of stray thought and then getting turned into a Jasper-headed dog.
Mm-hmm. Which is a reference to Invasion of the Body Snatchers 1978.
Oh, okay.
One of the pod people tries to assimilate an old homeless man who has a dog and assimilates both of them at the same time accidentally and creates this kind of homunculus piece
right.
of the dog with the old man's face on top.
Okay, now.
That's also ripped off / influenced A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that.
With those two dogs.
Yeah.
With people faces. Yeah. So there you go.
Right, nice.
Extra bit of tidbit for you.
So after the Jasper dog, it goes on to one of the jokes that you particularly liked about the narration.
Yeah, at the end of the narration, Rod Serling, or the Rod Serling impersonator, I should say, because he'd passed by this point, I think.
I think so.
There's a zoom in on Bart when it reveals that it's a 10-year-old boy. And Rod Serling's like, quite the twist. Weren't expecting that, were you?
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah, I loved that. Very smarmy, cocky kind of reveal.
yeah, it was.
And this is before the concept of saying, a twist had become kind of a popularized joke by M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Yeah.
Like.
Aye.
What else did you think of the Bart Zone? Continue.
I thought the Bart Zone as a whole was quite a good one. I like the fact that it was a dream right up until it was a nightmare for Bart.
I like that as well. Yeah, him having powers where he could read people's minds, never had to bend to his will, and he could turn them into whatever he wanted. It's basically his ultimate fantasy.
Yeah,
and then it leads to him calling Homer dad, and them saying that they love each other. And and he wakes up screaming.
yeah, exactly. The Dr. Monroe shit that
was terrible. It was awful.
Why the hell do they ever even drag that character out of the fucking bin where it should be for anything? And it's unnecessary because all he does is say, you two need to make up and do some bonding.
Why not have Marge say that?
Sit them down and say that.
Marge, it would give Marge some agency and it would give her something to do in this episode besides have some very funny lines.
Yeah, aye.
Like, oh good, the curtains are on fire.
Yes.
Yeah, Marge.
You sounded like you were going somewhere and then instantly died.
I wish I could remember one other Marge line from this episode.
couple of really good lines. Says one, forgets the rest.
I knew them back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? The other thing I didn't really like about the Bart Zone, if I had to nitpick, and I do, I think some of the exact imagery that's ripped directly from the Twilight Zone episode, the camera work, the noises, everything like that, I think it's fun, but it doesn't. It breaks the rule that I have for references working in media, which is that if you can watch the bit of media and not know the reference and still have it work. For example, the Rod Serling intro.
Yeah.
That you quite liked.
I did not know that was a reference, but I still thought it was very relevant to set in the scene. It sounded cool.
Yeah.
And it set the tone of the short really nicely. But I didn't know it was a reference. But when you obviously knew it was a reference, and it worked for you as well.
I haven't seen Twilight Zone because it's hard to get in the UK, but I've seen clips and I'm aware of the gist of it.
Where were you going with it?
I felt like a pressure in my chest.
Oh, good. It's finally happening.
I'm out.
Tap it out.
No more podcasts for me.
You can take the fucking responsibility from here.
You can get a new co-host.
Well, fuck. I'll have a ghost sensing machine sitting in that chair instead.
Jar of ashes, mate. Don't put me in here. Don't put me in here.
I'm not gonna. I would never do that. Let's get back to this.
It works because it fits. Even if you don't know the reference, it still fits.
Yeah, for the episode.
It still fits for the episode. It fits the tone. It works as intended.
Yes, yeah.
However, the camera zooms on the eye and the eyebrow going up, or the lack of eyebrow going up.
Yeah.
Bart.
Yeah.
And the music sting is taken exactly from the episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It's taken exactly from the episode of the Twilight Zone. And I don't think it fully fits here. I think if you didn't know what it was from, it might be slightly distracting.
I knew while watching the episode that it must have been a reference from something.
Yeah.
Because it was odd and a little bit distracting. So I could tell it was some sort of reference, but I had no idea from what.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, I will also might point out, in case anyone is unaware, I did not know that this episode, or the short, was called Bart Zone.
No.
Nor did I know it was based on Twilight Zone.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've not seen Twilight Zone either, so...
Well, what's funny is it's not the only Treehouse of Horror short that's based on a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh.
The other one... the other one is the episode where Bart, or the short rather, where Bart's on the bus and there's the gremlin on the side. And he's freaking out because the gremlin's trying to derail the bus, the school bus.
Yeah.
That's based on a Twilight Zone episode where William Shatner's on a plane and there's a gremlin creature man in a costume on the wing of the plane.
Right.
And that's a much better adaptation because it doesn't feel the need to take any... from what I can remember
directly
anyway.
From it.
Yeah, and even if it does take anything directly from it, it fits in a way that doesn't distract.
Right,
so
right.
Just not.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't not to do the same thing I just mentioned where we talk about a future episode because it's better.
And compare it.
That one is.
But hey, it sometimes it has to happen.
It must.
Yeah.
Especially with these Treehouse of Horror segments. There's only so many tropes you can play with when you're doing like a yearly Halloween parody.
Exactly. Especially when you're doing 3 stories every single episode.
At least 3 stories.
Well, yeah,
at least 3 lampoonings. Did you have any final thoughts about the Bart Zone?
Just I agree with your summation of the episode. Really, it was overall, I think, quite a good one. But I think the unnecessary attention to the hat tilts to the Twilight Zone are a little bit detracting.
It's almost slavish. It's almost slavishly devoted to recreating certain shots from that episode.
Yeah. But otherwise, I don't have any issues with it. I quite like the way that they round off the episode or that short into the fact that it becomes a horror show for him, a nightmare for Bart real quick.
That, yeah.
I like the way they do it, and it just like that's it, nightmare.
Aye.
And we never really talked about, other than the fact in the trivia, about the actual mouth shot for Bart when he wakes up.
That's a great shot, yeah.
It's cracking.
And it goes straight into his mouth at the time of airing, presumably straight to the adverts. Yeah,
it would go straight to adverts, presumably at that point, and that would be a great place to do it as well.
You've got 2 ad breaks after the first nightmare, after the second nightmare. That's where you want to put them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's great. Let's move on to If Only I Had a Brain, the third and final nightmare segment. Oh, and I guess after this segment, we'll cover the wraparound.
Oh, yeah, the wraparound. We forget.
Well, I'm so eager to jump into Monkey Paw.
Yeah. You have a lot to say about Monkey Paw.
I did, and I've got it all off my chest. My chest and out of my system.
Good. Right.
In a rather spooky manner.
Okay, so If Only I Had a Brain.
Yeah,
What do you think about this short, Connor?
Fuck, you got me. I love James Whale's 1931 film Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
And this, maybe I'm hypocritical, because I love the way that this references Frankenstein, but I think it matches what I said before during our Bart Zone segment about...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it works without having seen the source material.
Yeah.
Or without having had some sort of understanding or an awareness of the source material.
Mm-hmm. Which would be difficult to do, realistically.
Yeah. I mean...
Because pretty much every school on the planet is going to do either the book or the film, Frankenstein.
My school never did either.
What?
Yeah, I didn't see Frankenstein until after I'd left high school, I think.
We studied the film and the book.
We studied neither. We studied The Crucible by Arthur Miller.
Okay.
And some other shit that I don't remember.
I remember also studying a lot of Shakespeare. Well, I say studying. I was doodling crap at the back of the class while other people studied
maybe
it.
I went to a lower class school than you did, but we never did Shakespeare.
Huh.
Lots of Robert Burns. Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, it's not even like the scene where Mr. Burns says it's alive.
Yeah.
It's also not even the only Frankenstein reference in the episode, because obviously there's also
Marge as the she's dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes, that as well.
Yeah.
That's not the one I was thinking of. So there's 3.
Oh, nice.
3.
What was the one you were thinking of then?
The one I was thinking of was at the beginning of the episode when Marge comes out through the curtain and gives the audience a warning.
Oh,
she
right.
She does that in Treehouse of Horror 1.
She does, yeah.
But both times it's a reference to the opening of James Whale's Frankenstein, where a man comes out and tells the audience that what they're going to see is a very disturbing picture. Because for 1931 it was.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I forgot about the intro to the Frankenstein.
It's in every version of the film as well. Even if you buy it now on I have it on 4K.
Right, yeah.
And that's the opening. It's Frankenstein.
Nice.
I mean, that's the opening of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That scene.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and I love Frankenstein. This is I think it does a good job paying homage to that.
I think so, yeah.
And I like the way that, I wouldn't even say I would say I'd go as far as to say it's my favourite representation of Smithers and Mr. Burns' relationship.
Oh, yeah. I like that as well. The sort of back and forth that they have.
There's a specific bit that I mentioned prior to recording. We actually had a brief conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, folks. First time in 48 episodes. And I mentioned the line is it's after the Homer robot has failed.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Burns is like, well, I'll flush the brain down the toilet.
Mm.
And Smithers is like, well, you might want to put the brain back in the body and return Homer to his family.
Yeah.
He's like, but it's 11:45 to get home. And then Mr. Burns relents. He says, what's that?
Yeah, it's Oh, when you look at me with those puppy dog eyes.
That's the one, yeah. And yeah. I have to tell you that there's something I don't like about this one as well.
All right.
I know I'm a real negative Nelly here. A negative...
Nasty,
that's the one. I was going to say nonce.
Real horror material, that.
Yeah. Real negative nasty over here for the spooky special, but I hate the ending of this one. I loathe it with a passion deep in my arse. Comes boils all the way up through me. I hate the ending where Mr. Burns' head is sewn onto Homer's neck and Homer wakes up from the nightmare and that's reality. It's a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. He goes to bed without it.
Homer doesn't even have the scars on his head like if it was real.
Yeah, aye. Yeah, the ring from his head getting
chopped open.
Aye.
But like there's ways you could work around that as well.
Yeah.
I like maybe this is just me spitballing on the spot here, but maybe the robot, Smithers convinces Mr. Burns to put the brain back in Homer.
Mm-hmm.
Before he does so, he turns off the robot and then kicks it and it crushes him.
Mm-hmm.
Or turning it off causes it to lose balance and crush him.
Yeah.
And Mr. Burns' brain ends up in Homer's body and Homer's brain ends up stuck in the robot or something like that.
Yeah, aye.
Or maybe Mr. Burns puts himself in the robot or Smithers puts him in the robot or something. I think any of those options has the potential to be better.
Yes.
Than
what they did.
The neck thing, yeah. What they ended up going with. Ugh.
You were telling me there was a lot of references from the Wizard of Oz in the...
Yeah, I mentioned that. I mentioned it a little bit in trivia.
Mm-hmm.
It's also named after the song, and Mr. Burns hums the song, and also there's the line, clinking, clattering cacophony of Calenius, cogs, and camshafts. Which is
well done.
Every time. It's a direct nod to a line from the Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels kind of fruitless.
Mm.
It's just sort of spattered throughout meaninglessly.
Yeah. There's no sort of cohesion to that. It's just...
It's not like the Frankenstein
sprinkled into
where it's very intentional and very worthwhile and very essential, I would say.
Yeah. I was thinking there that there could also be an alternative ending to this as well, where you could maybe have rounded off the whole Wizard of Oz thing by putting Mr. Burns' brain into the robot and done a Tin Man sort of situation.
Oh, right, yeah, because he doesn't have a heart.
Exactly, not anymore. Not at that point.
Or previously.
But again...
And you could even have Smithers be like, well, like the Tin Man, you don't have a heart. And
just a little nod or something.
Didn't have one before.
A little nod or something.
Who needs a heart? I have steel or something,
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. Burns becomes the ultimate worker and he loves being in the robot and he's going around the factory doing stuff. The power plant, sorry, not the factory.
Yeah.
The steel mill that he owns.
Aye. But yeah, something just to sort of round off the episode a bit nicer. But it's a bit of a shame that it ended that way and the way they decided to eventually go, obviously, but instead of the way we thought of, what is it, like 20, 30 years later?
1991 to 2024.
Aye, quite a while ago.
33 years?
Yes, I should know that.
You should know that, shouldn't you? Why?
I should be better at maths.
Well, on that we agree. Any final thoughts about this short? About If Only I Had a Brain, David?
I think overall, despite the ending, I think it's still my favorite of those three.
Really?
Yeah. But I just love the Frankenstein bits. I just love it too much. What about yourself? Do you have a favourite of the three segments, Connor?
Thank you for asking, David. I don't know that I do. All of them. Well, if I'm being honest, all of them kind of let me down. All of them have their weaknesses. I think it's a worse Treehouse of Horror than the previous one.
You're right. With the fact that I think you think that the previous year had better segments overall, because we had outstanding clear winner, The Raven.
Yeah.
The animation was just so much effort for the entire short.
Yeah.
We had some good animation in this. We had some great animation in the third.
We did indeed, yeah.
And we had some cracking animation in Bart's own at the end there with Bart's mouth.
I think each of them
had some good points.
Good animation.
Yeah. But there was no one clear, like, outstanding winner.
Yeah, I think it would have been If Only I Had a Brain, if not for the ending.
Yeah, aye.
It's inescapable how bad that ending is.
I like the little joke. I like the little sitcom joke.
Yeah, I like that as well.
But it doesn't redeem the ending.
No.
It doesn't redeem what they did. But I like the little sitcom joke.
At the end of the episode, when it's the end credits and they do the joke being that it would be like a sitcom where Homer has to go to a spaghetti eating contest at least at school. But then Mr. Burns has to meet with a duchess. It's on the same day at the same time, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
aye. I think the Bart Zone was my favourite.
Okay, yeah.
For all it had its pitfalls,
mm-hmm.
I ragged on it. And I ragged on it, I did, but I think overall it's the strongest. It doesn't.
It stays kind of true to what it's supposed to be.
Its weaknesses do not detract in the way that the weaknesses of If Only I Had a Brain in a Monkey's Paw do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's quickly cover, David. Let's talk about the wraparound. I only have a brief thing to say about the wraparound, and that's I loved it.
Yes.
Or the tone, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And not the ending of the wraparound, obviously, that was awful.
No.
But the beginning, being set during Halloween, I've mentioned before, they move away from that pretty quickly. But it's so...
Yeah.
When you're watching the Treehouse of Horrors in October, as I do every year, you really miss the actual being set at Halloween sort of stuff, you know?
Yeah, aye. Being an actual Halloween thing, considering it's essentially a Halloween event, and that's what it started as.
Yeah. It was the first one was called the Halloween Special. And a bit of Halloween iconography, I would say.
Yeah.
The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
It's been 1991 to 2024? 1990.
1990, yeah.
34 years.
Jesus Christ, we were both need to be better at maths.
34 years, David.
Yes.
Isn't that incredible?
It is.
And it's still going as well. I think it's still the highest rated episode ever. We said this last year.
I think we did.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the wraparound?
I love it as well. I thought it was cracking. Again, with the ending, we both agree on the fact that was terrible.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just, I like the way that it was quite nicely set up. Hell, even you can tell it's a setup.
Yeah.
You can tell right at the very beginning. I mean, you know this anyway.
They don't even try to hide it.
They don't try to hide it. They literally take it in turns to say things like, oh, like 3 nightmares?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, we would have 3 nightmares.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Things like that. But I like the fact that it's right on your nose. It was on the nose, sorry.
Right on the nose.
Right in the nose, right in your face. And but it just makes for a really nice setup for everything.
This, like every other Treehouse of Horror, made me eager to watch the next Treehouse of Horror.
Yes.
I almost wish we were covering that episode next.
Oh, I do too. But it would be lovely if we were able to just do like all the Treehouse of Horrors in a row.
It would, but I think it'll be interesting looking back when we get to like Treehouse of Horror 15. And if we have a playlist or a long video that's every Treehouse of Horror ever, and you see us go from season 2 episode whatever 2 or 3, to like however many years the line that'll be.
Oh man,
how advanced this show will hopefully become.
Yeah,
and when the improvements we'll make. Well, I think it's time. I think that's the end of our little discussion segment.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular segment on this show where we talk about The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for David's one bit of animation that he actually quite liked. This is a segment in this show where David highlights one specific piece of animation from the episode we're talking about that he actually quite liked. David, take it away.
Very good. My one bit of animation that I actually quite liked comes from the third section, third short, If Only I Had a Brain. And it's obviously the shot where you've got Burns and Smithers walking behind the beakers and jars and glass, and the perspective changes that reflects. So well done,
David. That was a great bit of animation that you chose. It's very good, iconic. Well, this has been Insert Brain here, a Simpsons podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I've been your ghost, Connor.
Oh,
and with me, as always, has been the host with the most, David.
That's me, normal as ever.
You can join us next week when we talk about Season 3, Episode 8, Lisa's Pony.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow us on Instagram at InsertBrainHerePod or on Twitter at T422, and check out our website, insertbrainhere.podcastpage.io. Rate this podcast 5 stars on the podcasting platform that you're listening to right now. And if you're on YouTube listening to this from the far off distant future, give us a like and a subscribe.
Maybe a bell notification or two.
Ring that bell like you're Quasimodo. Spooky, yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Michael Myers, been stabbed.
I'm not sure if you're dying or doing karate.
I'm auditioning for Mortal Kombat, the video game.
Oh, very good.
Just like from the 90s.
Yeah, clearly. There's the 3 sounds that every single character used, clearly. I just need the female ones. That is definitely not from the game. That might just be from the hentai.
I don't know if you've played those games recently, but
they are a bit erotic. They are a bit erotic, aren't they? Well. Anyway.
I had something I was going to say. This has been a T422 production. And I guess we'll
smell you later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ta-ra.
Oh, that's a spooky. I'm being ghosted on Tinder. I'm being ghosted on Tinder.
Are you now? Like in real life?
I'm on Grindr.
Ghosted there too.
Okay, Cupid. Plenty of fish. Farmers for fucking. Bumble.
Are you just thinking of like every
Christian Mingle?
Jesus.
Satanic Dingle?
I wish that was one.
I'd be on there with name my Satanic Dingle. Aye.
Ta.
Da-da. Tatty bye.
Tatty Bogles.